All right, so I want to talk to you today about changing your lifestyle, changing your habits. And as you know, I am on this journey of becoming a healthier, happier, more successful in whatever parameters I'm defining that for myself. And so, understanding, cheers to 2026, we are all about that growth, all about thriving and finding better ways to implement habits that are not going to cause our brain to think that we are doing bad things that we don't want to do. And so I've been listening a lot to YouTube videos with Bruce Lee, and talks a lot about discipline. And something I love that he mentions is that your emotions, your motivation is like wind. And you never know whether it's going to be there or not. But you have to understand that if you do not keep showing up, then you're never going to become the exceptional person that you are meant to become. And so you got to realize that discipline, of course, trumps your motivation. And it's very hard for me to really conceptualize this in my head sometimes. You know, it's easy to be disciplined when you're doing things that you enjoy. But building discipline, doing the hard things. Right now it's 37 degrees out, walking in the cold. My dog is not feeling great, but she's obviously enjoying herself. So really understanding that sometimes you gotta just tell your brain, rewire your brain, force your brain to recognize that now you are in a period of discipline and you are doing this because you value yourself, you trust your abilities to do what you're saying you're gonna do. And so because of that, you are unstoppable. Nothing can shake you. If people are going to throw fireballs and flame and whatever icicles you want to perceive that they're doing so, you need to recognize that maybe they are. But if you are disciplined, that will seep into every area of your life. And so when you recognize this fact that maybe it's starting, for example, for me, with my health. And just because I am doing this with my health, I'm doing the hard things, my brain is being rewired that yes, I already do things that are hard that I don't want to do, but now I'm going to be more capable of doing that. It is building the muscle of your brain. And if you don't train your muscles, they atrophy, they become weak, and you think that, oh no, it's because maybe I don't have the right environment, I don't have, the people around me, and these are all excuses. Because if you really want something, discipline is about preferences, it is about priority. Even I was listening to Dan Martell, and he was talking about names and how it's so important to remember people's names. And he meets thousands and thousands of people and he remembers their name and he has systems to do so. And so in order to remember someone's name, sometimes you have to realize that it's just your brain not creating that priority. And so what does that mean? That means that your brain is capable of so much, of remembering everything that you want to prioritize. So the more you nourish your brain, the more you start to trust your abilities, that you are an incredible human being capable of doing so many things, more than maybe we humans as a species even recognize. We're not accessing all of the abilities that we are capable. And so when we see people doing extraordinary things, we think, oh wow, that is an anomaly. They are this intrepid outlier. But no, they are, but they've also learned how to harness their focus. They've learned how to align with their inner truth that has allowed them to cultivate the skills that is a free form of self-expression, which then makes it very easy to live life. Because now you're living in the joy, you're living in this sphere of happiness, and you become untouchable. So being able to recognize that you can do anything you want in your life, and you just have to tell your brain that you can. And we're hearing this redundancy over and over on the internet. Train your mind, tell your brain, rewire your brain. And sometimes it can feel like all these words just coming at you. And you really have to feel it, you really have to understand it for this to work. Because yes, in the beginning, you might be putting in those reps and you don't really understand. You don't understand what's going on with your brain, if it's working, if it's not. But then it comes to a point where something clicks and you're able to kind of just grasp it and things start to flow. But I think that when you really can determine for yourself what is going to be good for you, you get rid of that noise and you start to realize that training your mind is the ultimate form to aligning with whatever it is you were gifted innately to produce in this world, the value that you are meant to create. And so being in that kind of mindset is so important, because now you're not only creating there's dogs everywhere I'm trying to avoid. You're not only creating your reality, but you are forging a path for others to follow as well. And so when you show up every day and you do the hard things and you're okay with doing it maybe 1%, 5%, not doing that great, it's messy in the beginning. But you still keep going, and you are not doing it because you're looking for applause or accolades from other people. But you simply do it because you're trusting yourself, you're honoring yourself with the art of discipline. And so it all really begins there. It begins with training your mind to learn to love the discomfort, to love discipline, and to recognize that even when you are doing things that are flawed, that make you feel uncomfortable, in the end, in the future, you're going to be grateful for those things you did, because not only are you documenting your growth so that you're able to continue to foster that trajectory that will soon begin to escalate into this exponential rocket ship of growth that you hadn't even been able to imagine, but really understanding that you are worthy of giving yourself that gift of acknowledgement, and that you don't need it from your external environment, because that's the noise, that's the jail, that's the prison. Wanting that validation constantly from other people, not just on social media, because now our society is programming us to want validation all the time and to want to be seen all the time. And it is our human right to want to be seen. We all want to express our unique expressions. And you have to realize that sometimes you can only be seen when you're doing things for yourself. And the person who is seeing you at that point is yourself, because now you are discovering these truths about yourself that you hadn't been able to imagine. Look, even for me, I have all these insecurities that I struggle with in my life. And they're normal. I'm a person who has acne. You can see I have scars. You can see them in the sunlight. Now look at me. Can't really see it because I am facing the sun. But do I care about showing off my insecurities right now? No, because I've come to a point where I'm confident in myself. I don't care that I have these flaws because I know that I'm doing things to work on myself every day. Whether that be my skin, whether that be my mind, and whether that be my body. And that is where true discipline begins. Because now I'm showing you these things. I didn't have to show you, I didn't have to talk about it. And I'm only able to because, hey, I want to show you that you don't have to be insecure about your perceived flaws. You know, we all try to posture in certain ways so that we can conform to societal expectations. For example, me posturing is turning around so the sun is hitting me in a way where you can't see my imperfections, perceived imperfections. But I want to walk a certain way because I am heading to a certain destination. And if it's going to be messy, if people are going to see the mess while it's in progress of becoming supposed perfection, then so be it. But I know where I'm headed, and I know that if I continue to stand in my truth and to not worry too much about what other people are going to think about it as I am moving towards my goals, then eventually the people who are meant to align with me will. The doors that are supposed to open, they're going to open. And so you really have to have this inner trust within yourself, this intense love for yourself, that you don't mind doing these silly things. You don't mind showing people that, hey, you know, I'm human too. Because that is how we relate to people. And we've come into a society where everyone, they want to look so good. They want to show that, hey, this is who I am. And really they're not. But it takes a lot of courage to be able to admit the truth, not only to yourself, but also to the world. And so if you're able to do that, I applaud you. And I hope that you're able to find the success and happiness first within your mind, because that is where true health begins. And yeah, I just wanted to say that when you are moving towards your goals, just don't worry about anything around you. Keep that tunnel vision and focus towards your progress. Because yeah, you can do things to look good, feel good, but if they're going to get in the way of you moving as quickly towards your goals, then it is a futile attempt and you are just being distracted. So I think that, especially with health, I didn't even want to have this smoothie this morning. I was resenting it, but I have to tell my mind, again, let's do it, repeat it. This is the reward. The uncomfortable situations, the discomfort, that is the reward. And so when you are moving towards pain, you have to understand that you're moving towards what is working for you. Pain is a signal that you are growing. Pain is a signal that you are going to achieve your goals, because you are one who perseveres through the pain, and that is what makes you incredible. That is what makes you disciplined. And there might be days where you feel like you don't want to do it. Even for me, I really didn't want the smoothie. But I tried to numb my mind. I tried to numb those thoughts. And I knew if I just make it really fast and now it's sitting there, I'm going to feel more inclined to want to have my smoothie. And so it's like I was working in ABA therapy for a while, and it's about this stimulus and response. So being able to pause between the stimulus and the response, that is where the true magic lies. Because once you're able to control your breath, you're able to control the emotion, you're able to not react, but choose your actions carefully, wisely, then you are truly a master of your mind and a master of discipline. So you have to understand that you have patterns. Your patterns are leading you to react to stimulus. You need to become aware. And when you're able to do that, then you're going to be able to find the ultimate success, because now the world is not creating you, but you are the architect of your life. So, again, a lot of thoughts about the mind, a lot of thoughts about discipline, a lot of thoughts about smoothies. Just do the hard things and it's all going to work out. All right, with that, I leave you. We leave you. Lots of love and good vibes. Peace. Let's make some magic. All right, just a quick little view. Just want to show you how beautiful it is. I love water. I think water is really misunderstood, especially as Bruce Lee says. Water is something that we might consider as soft, as fluid, as something that moves around rocks. But you have to understand that water is also a force of nature. Water can cut through glass. Water can cut through anything. And so when you recognize that being like water is really about balance and being calm and decisive, but also being able to have this precision that is strong and it can overtake you. There's so much, you make your interpretations, but for me, I find it so important to be around nature and to kind of just absorb the elements. And so I just wanted to show you the final destination, since, here we are, might as well, right? You walked with me through this journey, and now we are going to enjoy it together. Ready? Really beautiful. All right. See you guys. Cheers.